the proceedings now, the way I used to tell you people that. So first off, obviously, we will be revising whatever we discussed till date. Um, see, obviously, we are in unit one now, so which is talking about the introduction of the subject, some basic concepts and all these things. So to revise whatever we discussed till now, so I have to start with the energy. We discussed what is energy. Its units, joule or kilowatt hour, as far as electrical energy is concerned. And then we discussed sources of energy, different resources of energy, different types of energy, classification we did see. So as far as our subject is concerned, we know very well that we have two types of energy as far as renewable energy. Those are non-renewable and renewable, or conventional and non-conventional. The other day we did see the comparison between these two, advantages and disadvantages of these two energy sources. Wait for a minute, please. Okay, can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So we discussed about conventional, non-conventional energy sources. We discussed some practical examples. The other day we discussed natural energy currents, natural on Earth. In fact, we are going to discuss a bit more about natural energy currents on Earth in detail. We are going to discuss, or in a way, I'll be giving you a whole lot of practical examples today. I'm telling you, you will be enjoying the session very well. And we are going to look at what do you mean by natural energy currents, which are also called telluric, T-E-L-L-U-R-E-C, telluric currents. You'll be really surprised whether these currents are really available, if they are available, how they are available, and what is the significance, and what are their uses, how we are making use of that one. I'm sure that you might have never heard about this current, telluric current, which we are going to discuss. So with that, telluric currents is what we are going to discuss, the major topic, and we are going to uh, leave some light on last session's topic, that was spaghetti diagram and the pie diagram, isn't it? Spaghetti diagram or Sankey diagram, I would say, and the pie diagrams. So we discussed end energy user. The other day we discussed end energy user. So the figure was talking about input energy and how energy is being used as far as end user is concerned. So we're going to throw some light on that one also. So this is what today's session plan is. So uh, if you start proceeding now, we shall proceed now. So let me present. Can you all look at the slide? Can you look at the slide? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can unmute your audio and you can respond me. You can do that one also. Yeah. So we shall now talk about telluric current, as I told you, which is very very interesting. So listen to me. Natural energy current or telluric current. So in a simple way, I will start and we will go to the extreme end. Okay. First one. Telluric means in Latin it means earth. Okay. It means earth. Next. This currents moves underground or through sea. Where does it move? It moves underground, or sometimes just over the surface of earth also it moves. Can you believe it? Can you ever believe that some current is flowing over the surface of earth or just underground? Can you believe it? May I expect answers. Current underground or current over the surface of earth. Currents. Okay, no problem. As I'm going to continue discussing about these currents, you will come to know what these currents are and why we are not experiencing these currents. For example, if I am telling you that these are the currents which are flowing over the surface over the surface of the earth or sea, sea, then why we are not experiencing? You will come to know that one. So if I go to the presentation again, so Latin telluric means earth and this current moves underground or through sea. They result from natural causes. What they result from? Natural causes. Of course, we are going to see what those natural causes will be. Okay, 3 points we discussed. Next, these currents are extremely low frequency. Okay, see, first, as you people are not that much acquainted with the terms, these electrical energy terms or electrical terms called frequency, voltage, whatever, current or whatever. I would like to tell you first of all, what do you mean of frequency? Define frequency. See, since we are talking about a subject which is pertaining to electrical energy or electrical engineering, you should know the basic things like voltage, what is definition of voltage, current, frequency, all these things. So, Abhilash, Abhilash,
Yes, sir.
yeah, please define frequency. Frequency, I didn't ask, I don't think I asked a very tough question. Or okay, forget about definition. Can you tell me at least what is its significance? Or where do we use that one? Or how does it make the system change? Define frequency. Okay,
Time period,
Mohan,
what of time period?
what?
Time period, sir. Inverse, inverse of time period.
Very good. I think it's Vamsi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good. Inverse of time period. Yeah, very good. That is correct. And in other words, we can also define the number of cycles per second. For example, if an alternating quantity, alternating current flowing, for example, the number of cycles passed over a particular point per unit time is called frequency. See, actually, though you know the definition or you remember the definition, unless you know what is its significance, I don't think. it has something to learn about. Okay, so I will tell you what is the significance frequency in a brief way. Okay, um, see, do you understand or do you remember that whenever you are purchasing a mobile phone, you go for the speed of that mobile phone or not? Speed. Speed means, of course, a mobile phone doesn't rotate or doesn't move. Of course, I am talking about the fastness of the mobile phone. Yes or no? Okay. CSC and IT students, CSC and IT students, listen to me. Now, whenever we are talking about the configuration of a mobile, whenever we're talking about a processor, for example, what is the generally the processor which we use in mobile phones? Processor which we use in mobile phones here. Okay, okay, no problem. See, you use octa-core and some other multi-core, yeah, octa-core. So many types of processors. Not only a mobile phone, even any electronic gadget for that matter. For example, if you take a laptop, also we have so many types of processors: Pentium, i3, i4, i5. Recently, we came into the dual core. Yeah, very good. So, whenever we're talking about processor, we talk about frequency or not. 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon, very good. We talk about frequency or not. 1.2 gigahertz, 1.3 gigahertz, 2 gigahertz, 4 gigahertz. I think you all know that hertz is a unit for frequency only. So, what I want to tell you people is the frequency talks about the speed at which the system or the device works. Yes or no? So now let us see. Let's come back to our own concept. What it is talking about. You see here, these are telluric currents. What we are talking about. These are of extremely low frequency. Extremely low frequency is the advantage or disadvantage, and travel large distances over surface of Earth. These telluric currents are of extremely low frequency and they travel large distances over surface of Earth. So extremely low frequencies. Obviously, you see the reason is that these are naturally happening currents. These are nobody is creating these things. These currents are not created by anybody. These are naturally available currents over the surface of Earth, which we can't even experience unless we do any experiment, which I am going to show you today. I repeat, these natural currents can't be experienced unless we do some experiment. We can't even experience that one, but it has so many advantages. Next, these can be observed in earth crust or mantle, as I told you, not only over the surface of earth, even just below the surface of earth also, we can experience these currents, telluric currents. And to talk about the history of these telluric currents or natural energy currents on earth, it was, way back 1862, September, was the first time when experimentally it was proven that telluric currents are available over the surface of Earth. Okay, telluric currents were identified in 1862 September. Next comes these are geomagnetically induced currents. So again, one more technical term: geomagnetical induced currents. Very very interesting. Geomagnetical. What do you mean by geomagnetical? First of all, what do you mean by geo? Geo means Earth, magnetical, magnetic field. And hmm, so let us go back to our basic science, which we learned at plus two level or SSC. You people know that if you have a pair of poles, north and south poles, don't we have magnetic lines of force flowing from north to south pole? Yes or no? If this is the way, I can't proceed the class here. See, I need responses. Geomagnetical, geo-earth, magnetical, yeah, yes. So, whenever we have a pair of north and south poles, wherever it is, we have magnetic lines of force flowing from north to south. So, very important question at intermediate level or SSC level. This one is. So, in the same way, Earth also has a north and south poles, or not? And you people know that the Earth is the largest magnet available in the universe. Yes or no? Which leads to, yeah, Margaret, correct. So, which leads to, uh, the gravitational force of the Earth, upon which the so-called famous Newton's law talks about that gravity of Earth. So happens to be with respect to the largest magnet of the universe, which happens to be the Earth, and we have lines of magnetic force from north to south pole of Earth itself. Okay, so if you get back to, yeah, having said that one, so whenever we came to know that there is a magnetic field available around the Earth, and you know very well that the Earth is moving with respect to itself and around the sun, and you know very well that Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Do you remember or not? Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. We have three laws actually. First law, second law, third law. These are very, very, very basic laws in electrical engineering. So if you don't remember, let me define the first one at least. So whenever we have a conductor placed in a magnetic field, and there exists a relative motion between the conductor and the magnetic field, there exists an EMF, not current, EMF. EMF means voltage. And when voltage is available, and if you connect these voltage terminals with some conducting material, then current flows. Very, very, very important. I am telling you here, if you understand this one, today's class is over actually. I mean it. Today's class is over if you understand this one. I repeat one last time. So from first law of Faraday's electromagnetic induction, whenever a conductor is placed in a magnetic field, here conductor is what? You know what the conductor is here in our case when we are talking about Earth and the magnetic field of Earth we are talking about. Here the conductor is air. Yeah, air. That's the reason I told you you will be surprised altogether today. Air is conductor here. You may say how air is a conductor. Yes, air has so many particles in it. When these particles in atmospheric air gets ionized, and it gives you so many electrons, and you know that electron flow is nothing but current. Is it clear or not till now? uh, why I'm asking at this point, if you understand this one, I think we are done today. Actually, this is very, very important. Did you understand or not? Did you understand or not? Okay, I repeat one more time. So we know that Earth is the largest magnet. It has a north and south poles. It has magnetic lines of force. Magnetic lines of force nothing but magnetic field only. So whenever a conductor, here in our case air, is placed in the magnetic field, it experiences EMF is induced. EMF is induced, And if something is placed in it, in that I mean between the EMF, means we need two terminals to make the voltage to exist. So between those two terminals, for example, DC voltage only, if you talk about, we have plus and minus. So if you place something between it, the current starts flowing from plus to minus. Okay, so in our case, the conductor is earth. I mean, I'm sorry, the air. Earth has a magnetic field around it, so obviously current flows, and current, this current is nothing but telluric current or natural energy currents. Are you clear at least now? Stravani, Roshan, Srisha, Chandrasekhar, Margaret, Shreya. Yes. So we shall proceed now. So that's what you mean by geomagnetically induced currents. Next, I told you, once you understand this one, we are done, and the rest is nothing but uses. Why this current exits, and see, whenever I say that in air currents are there, everybody will be worried actually. So that's what I am going to tell you people. These are induced by changes in outer part of the Earth's magnetic field, already discussed. Earth's magnetic field, it has magnetic field around it. So once it has some changes in it, changes means I told you, relative motion between the magnetic field and the conductor. Here the conductor is air. So these are also called, I told you, see, these telluric currents are caused by natural causes, natural causes. So let us see what those natural causes are. The natural causes are interaction of solar wind and magnetosphere. Again, same thing. Solar wind. What do you mean by solar wind? The other day we discussed solar wind. I did show you figure also on that day. Solar wind. So whenever there is a temperature difference between any two places, so the air tends to flow from low temperature place to high temperature place. So we understood that the surface of Earth is heated more when compared to surface of sea or ocean. So currents, wind tends to flow from seashore towards the other end, the reverse end. So those are called solar wind. So I can say air, I can say breeze, I can say wind. So breeze is nothing but wind with less velocity is called breeze, and with wind with some predefined velocity is called, of course, wind. So since it is related to solar, we are calling that as solar wind. Okay, solar wind and magnetosphere. So you see here, I am underlining here magnetosphere. Magnetosphere. What do you mean magnetosphere? The region over the surface of Earth till which the magnetic effect is there. I don't know. I don't think that this magnetic effect over the surface of Earth would be there even after thousands of kilometers. Yes or no? In space, we don't have this magnetic effect. We have magnetic effect over the surface of Earth only till some hundreds of kilometers or some below hundreds of kilometers, whatever. So that reason is called a magnetosphere. So the interaction of that solar wind and this magnetosphere, as I discussed in the first point, this first point is the reason for telluric currents. Our solar radiation effects on the ionosphere. This is, you see, once again, very interesting here. Solar radiation effects on ionosphere. What do you mean by ionosphere? Ionosphere. So the surface of the Earth or the region of the Earth where atmosphere is available. Atmosphere is nothing but it has so many elements in it. Yeah, it has it has air, it has nitrous components, it has nitrogen components, it has carbon components, it has so many, it has so many things it has. So once we have a chemical reaction of one with respect to other, it gets ionized, and so is the reason it is called ionosphere. Okay, so the solar radiation with respect to the ionosphere also will cause you the telluric currents. Okay, telluric currents flow on surface layers of earth, obviously we discussed already. So next, earth's magnetic field. So I have been talking about that is magnetic field, the largest magnetic field I can say in the universe, available over the surface of earth. If I have to show you the magnetic lengths of force with respect to earth, this looks like this. This is the thing. So see, now listen to me. These lines, whichever you are looking at, these red color lines, and the orientation or the direction in which it is flowing, it talks about the direction of the magnetic field. And see, you may ask one thing, sir, why this direction is in random way? It is not a straight line or something like that. So the answer would be, I think you know very well that the magnetic lines of force are flux, I would say. I'm not going in detail about electrical engineering. Uh, the way resistance doesn't allow current flow, in the same way reluctance doesn't allow magnetic lines flow or magnetic flux flow. So that is the reason these lines are not linearly oriented or the way you are expecting. Okay, so these are magnetic lines of force. So whenever they are affected with the conductor, here what is the conductor? Air. So with respect to electromagnetic induction, voltage is induced, and obviously the air itself acts as conductor between that plus and minus or whatever terminals of the voltage, and current will be existing. So yeah, now one more important point, the magnitudes and currents of telluric currents, the magnitude and direction of telluric currents can be measured by measuring electrical potential at different points on earth. Here you listen to me, very very important again. Have you ever heard about earthing? Earth, ఎర్త్ అయింది అని అంటుంటాం మనం. ఎర్తింగ్. Have you ever heard about earthing? Earth, earth potential or zero potential. And for example, if you take into consideration a plug, uh, for some plugs we have two terminals. For some plugs we have three terminals, don't we? For example, if you take some electrical gadgets like refrigerator, oven, AC. Hmm. Chandrasekhar, yeah. Especially AC, if you consider the plug of AC, and that to the third terminal, which is thick compared to the rest of the two terminals. Why it is very thick? Practical example again. I repeat, the socket in which the plug of AC is to be placed is generally a huge one when compared to actual plugs. It has three terminals. The upper one in general is a thicker one when compared to the other two. Why? Okay, if not, I say let's talk about oven, micro oven. They're also like that only. Compared to the bottom two, the upper one is thicker. Can anybody at least you tell me whether you know or not? Yes or no, so that I can proceed.
It is that earthing one.
Very good. Shravani Vasavi said no, but somebody who is that who answered?
Simrita sir.
Simrita, very good. Very good. It is correct. It is for earthing, yeah. You know, earthing. Okay. Let me tell you briefly again. I am not going to in detail. If I go in detail, these classes won't be enough for us. So very simple here. There is an expression called R is equal to rho L by A. I think you might be knowing basic expression for resistance of a conductor, rho L by A, where rho is resistivity of the material whose resistance we are considering. L is length of the conductor, and A is a cross-sectional area of the um, conductor. Okay, if I yeah, so uh, if the diameter or the area of the terminal which I am talking about is more, the cross-sectional area would be more. If cross-sectional area is more, since it is inversely proportional to resistance, resistance would be lesser. If any fault occurs, which leads to high current, then it dissipates this high current through earth terminal to the ground. I repeat, cross-sectional area of the earth terminal is expected to be more, so that if the cross-sectional area is more, resistance is less. If resistance is less, you know very well that current takes a low resistance path or high resistance path. Low resistance path. So as current always choose a low resistance path, it chooses that path at actual when compared to the actual two terminals. So it takes that path and it gets diffused to earth without affecting your equipment. So so that is about earthing, yeah. Earthing. Earthing means earthing. We generally say that earth has zero potential generally, but in our case, earth has some potential. I will show you. Okay, let me first finish this one, then I will show you. So earth has some potential, which I am telling. Generally, see, uh, if I have to talk about standards, it is considered to be zero, but it has very less values, something like millivolts. Millivolts means very small. Okay, so for example, you have two different potential points on Earth. Uh, Two different electrodes you placed on Earth, and you connected some conductor between these two, and you know what happens? Surprisingly, current will flow. Okay, these are called telluric currents or natural energy current. So next, telluric currents continuously move between sunlit and shadow sides of Earth towards the equator on the side of the Earth facing the sun, and towards the poles on the night side of the planet. See, I think you know very well that we have 24 by 7, we have two sides of Earth. One is sunlit side of the Earth, the other one is night side of the Earth. Yes or no? For example, uh, for 12 hours, one half part of the Earth is sunlit, the other part is not lit. For the next 12 hours, reverse happens. Yes or no? So he's talking about the same thing. So for sunlit part, for example, here, uh, for example, if I talk about Eastern countries now what would be the time in general? I mean, it would be night. it will be night now. Yes or no? So that part comes under night part of the earth, where we Asia and other residing, I mean, uh, neighboring countries comes in the sunlit and part of the earth now. So in night the reverse happens. So what he is talking about, the sunlit part, these currents flow towards the equator, where uh, uh, during day, that is, and it flows towards poles on the night side of the planet. So 24 by 7 there is a sunlit part of the planet as well night side of the planet 24 by 7, but it get reversed for every 12 hours. Okay, so now, having said all these things, now at this time I would like to show you one video which is very very interesting. Before showing you the video, I would like to know if you have any doubts till now. We spoke about what is telluric current, how they are resulted, what is its magnitude, Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, and we did see how they flow. I mean, material lines of force of Earth, no doubts. Chandrasekhar, no doubts. Anybody else? Any doubts? Let me tell you one thing. This is one of the most important questions as far as examination is concerned. Most important questions. Telluric current. You will be asked to define telluric current, and sometimes you'll be asked to draft some figures also, which is very simple. It looks like the figure whichever I showed you just now, the electromagnetic lines of force which flows over the surface of Earth. Obviously, the current paths also look like the same only. So, any doubts till now? No, Nanda Kishore. If you can assure me, I will proceed. No doubts. Very good. Roshan, Vaishnavi, very good. Now I'll be showing you one video uh, which shows you how to measure telluric currents. Wait for a wait for a while. I will be showing you the video. Okay. Okay. Obviously, um, you may not be listen to the video, but you can just look at the video. I will be giving you the voiceover. Okay. You just tell me whether you can. 1 second. Can you look at the video? Okay. Voice I will be giving you. Voice over I will be giving you. Yeah. Listen to me here. See, all of you, please listen to me. See, these two rods, I would say that whichever are shown here, these two are probes, I would say, are electrodes, I would say, electrodes. These two are rods are electrodes. And, this is multimeter. This is multimeter. And these are wires, the red color wires, which is going to be connected. I will show you, of course, how it is going to be connected. So I think now you can look at the probes clearly. So these two are probes which I am going to dip inside the earth surface, um, preferably in a damp surface of earth. Okay, I'm going to dip inside, and I'm going to locate these two towards north and the south poles of the earth. Okay, towards now you need not to go to north pole and south pole of the earth, of course. So towards north and south pole of the two extreme ends, of course, I'm going to dip in, and then okay, you'll be looking at the video. See, this is the setup. This is the setup for measuring the voltage first. I think you know very well that without voltage there will be no current. So first we are going to measure the telluric voltage by connecting something. Something means the conductor between those two terminals across which the voltage is available. Obviously, current flows. Okay, this is the setup actually. I will show you. This is, I think you are looking at my cursor. This is one terminal. This is the other terminal. This is multimeter, which is connected across these two terminals to measure the telluric voltage. I will show you the probes also where they are placed actually. You just look at the video. You see here, this is one probe. This is one probe which is dipped into the earth, and the other one is this extreme right hand side. This is left hand side. This is right hand side. So these are displaced apart, and from those probes, the wires are derived, and we made these to be underneath some bricks to ensure that these don't move. Okay, and I left the terminal of each wire open. Okay, open, this is open and this is open, and if you connect this open terminal and this open terminal to the multimeter, then the voltage will be read by this multimeter. I think now uh, you can see very clearly these two wires which are coming from those two probes. This is one, the red one. This is other one, which are open. Yes or no? And to these open terminals, I am going to connect the multimeter connections to measure the telluric voltage. So one important thing which we have to observe here, see what he is doing in the video, he's measuring the telluric voltage for every 15 minutes. So he's starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, and for every 15 minutes he is measuring the voltage, and he is recording the telluric voltage if any change is there. And there is a change of 3 millivolt for every 15 minutes. So I told you that the cause of telluric current is natural causes. Natural causes means solar wind, and solar radiation also has something to do with the telluric currents. So obviously, as time goes, especially in the morning from 7 o'clock towards the afternoon, if you are going, so obviously, the telluric voltages will be increasing. Okay, that's what is recorded here. That's what he is explaining about. Now you can see the yellow color wire and the green color wire have come from the multimeter, and earlier, see, this red color which are coming from the probes were open. Now these two are connected across the multimeter. So that means across means between these two terminals, this multimeter is going to measure the DC telluric voltage. Look at it. So please look at the screen of the multimeter, how much it is showing you. Here you see here how much it is showing you. It's 7 o'clock, for example. This is at 7 a.m. 10.8 millivolts DC. Volts are not current. Volts. 10.8 millivolts. Millivolts at 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. DC voltage it is. Yeah. See, now here you can clearly see that the value has been increased to 13.6 millivolts. 13.6 millivolts after 15 minutes. So it has been increased. What the reason is? Obviously, with respect to time, we know that the solar orientation and the orientation with respect to Earth and the radiation is going to be changed. Of course, this is on a sunny day. If not, the solar wind has something to do with sun and all these things. 13.6. The next one is, and I'm going for the next 15 minutes. You see here, I think you can see here, it is 15.5 now. 15.5 millivolts. So I think that is enough to discuss. So my conclusion here would be very simple. You take two probes or two electrodes. I think the way you might have learned when electrolytes, you might have heard, didn't you, in +2 level? So we immerse electrolytes in salt water, and by electrification we do have the voltage across the two terminals. So this in the same way, there we dip that electrolytes in salt water, but we dipped the electrodes into the earth crust or earth surface. So surprisingly, we have voltage across these two terminals. Now the final point I am telling you now, see, between these two open ends, this red wire and this red wire, if you connect some conductor which allows the current to flow, current obviously will be flowing. Why? Since voltage is available across these two terminals, which is called a potential difference. So obviously, you know very well that whenever potential difference is there, then only current flow is possible. So current would be flowing from higher potential to lower potential, or plus to minus. So that is called telluric current. So quickly, okay, let me first ask you people, Did you understand that explanation? Two probes at a distance dipped in earth crust or earth surface, or I wouldn't say crust, earth crust. The reason is it is talking about kilometers of distance. So two probes dipped into earth surface, and those two are connected. I mean, with the help of two wires, they brought together, and across those two terminals, we found the voltage. And there exists a voltage in the range of millivolts, of course, but still, if you connect those two wires with some conductor, current flows. That is called telluric current. Any doubts till now? Any doubts? No doubts. Sumrita, Dheeraj, Margaret, Nandakishore, no. So you understood the concept. Very simple. Very simple. It's something like electrification only. I mean, electrolysis. Electrolysis. There we immerse in salt water. Here we are immersing in earth. That's it. Nothing more than that one. Okay. Okay. So if I have to go for our own presentation, I just have one more thing to discuss within 2 minutes. Yeah. So obviously, the question arises: why do we have to study about telluric currents, or what is its significance? We never heard that there are currents flowing over the surface of Earth, or just under the surface of Earth, under, underground. So, what are the uses? You see, you will be surprised and very, very important uses. First one, for exploring the structure beneath the Earth surface. So, once you want to know what is the actual structure, we already know, of course, but still the researchers would be there who wanted to know what exactly is there beneath the Earth's surface. Or I think you know that there is nobody or nothing which has gone to center of Earth still. Yes or no? And there is a movie also on this topic, which is Center of Earth. So I think you can watch that movie also. There is nothing still which went to center of Earth. Obviously, there are tremendous temperatures are there, tremendous pressure is there at center of Earth, where nobody can go or nothing can go. So to explore that one, that is of course useful. Mineral exploration. You know that in Earth crust we have so many minerals: sodium, potassium, that one, zinc, all these things to explore that one. These currents will be useful. Next, geothermal exploration. Geothermal. So the other day, on first day, I told you that what is the geothermal. Geothermal. So the heat to be extracted from Earth surface, Earth crust, which is used to boil water and then steam turbines, generator, electricity. So to explore where exactly this geothermal energy or geothermal provision is more available on the earth crust, these telluric currents are very much useful. And next, mining exploration, obviously. So I think you know very well that see, even with the help of satellites, also we used to point out where exactly minerals are available on Earth. For example, yeah, radioactive element is there, uranium or something else or something else. So I wanted to know where exactly these are available so that I can make use of it. So even the photos of the satellites which are being sent to us will talk about where exactly these minerals are available, or the mines are available, or geothermal resources are available. So for all these things, that these telluric currents are very much important and useful. Petroleum exploration once again. So all resources whichever are there on, I would say that see, in a simple way, if I have to say, if not one, two, three, four, five, six, six. In fact, one more I think we have. Yeah, 7. Yeah. So I would say, as a single point, I would say that whatever is available underground, to explore whatever is available underground, these telluric currents are very much useful. So that is the one single point I would say, rather these many points. Okay. So today's summary is we discussed about telluric current or natural energy currents on Earth, its definition, and how they are resulted, um, magnetic field around Earth, how they are oriented, and how the telluric currents are resulted. And then we did see, uh, you know, its uses. Yes or no? So the summary of today's class is that one, telluric currents. Yeah. So any doubts? So that was about telluric currents. Any doubts? Vaishnavi, Dheeraj. See, always the same people are keep keep on responding. The others, I don't know what they are doing. Shravani, Aishwarya, Vasavi, see, Mahesh, Bhavesh, Nandakishore. See, every time these are the common students who are responding for every question. Sraya, Pooja, Sirisha, Sirisha and Sirisha. Yeah, very good. So that is today's session. Tomorrow we are going to probably talk about the last session of Unit 1. Tomorrow we will be concluding Unit 1. Tomorrow we are going to discuss energy efficiency and energy management with practical examples. Of course, I will never take apart the practical example, which are very, very important. Energy efficiency and energy management we will be discussing tomorrow's class. Attendance has been taken today. So if we don't have anything else, we shall close the session here. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Tomorrow we'll be having, yes, as per schedule, we don't have any class, but tomorrow I'll be covering that last class. Last means LOST last. The last class last week. So I'll be telling you the time in the group. That will be probably, if you can just be online, I will tell now itself. Be online. Okay, tomorrow we'll be having the last session, the recovery of the last session at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Is it okay? Okay. Okay. See, I will tell you the reason also why I did choose that one. By 3 o'clock, though you have, as far as minority is concerned, you have 3 classes per day, except 1 or 2 days. 1 or 2 days, you may be having 4 classes. Though you have 4 classes, I don't know, since we have 4 sections here, civil, mechanical, I have to think about all the sections. So by 3 o'clock, though you have 4 classes tomorrow, for example, all 4 classes would be over by 3 o'clock. So that is the reason I scheduled at 3 o'clock. Are you clear? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So today we are leaving. Tomorrow 3 o'clock we will be meeting. So same link would be there, but time will be changed. So let us meet at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and tomorrow we will be concluding Unit 1 with energy efficiency and energy management. Okay. Have a very good rest of the day. Have delicious lunch. Bye.